Yo boys, TB here, and today we're going to be going over what's going to be changing for Windwalker Monk in the War Within pre-patch. So we're going to be covering things like our talent changes, ability changes, rotations, our stats. One thing I'd like to note is that sims still aren't out, so some of this still might change, especially things like our stats. So we'll have to wait for them to be updated to get 100% understanding what's going to be best for us. But yeah, let's jump into it. Well, the first thing you'll know is just on the beta at the moment, so we'll kind of have to just disregard the fact that Conduit's here, as we won't have our hero talents, but the rest of this should still be the same. So the first thing on this side of the tree, the left side, you'll note that Chi Wave and Chi Burst no longer actually give Chi. So for the majority of situations, we're just going to want to run Chi Wave, as it's just going to passively happen. And then we've got things like our summon white statue is no longer, like, we don't have to press it, so that kind of just happens when we press Zuen, so that's a nice quality of life change. For the right side, which is like the Windwalker specific tree, you'll see that we've got this new talent, Momentum Boost. This will basically just let your Fist of Fury scale of haste, and it's going to be one of the main things is why we're going to be wanting haste in the pre-patch and in the Warvin. And then we've got Combat Wisdom, which is now replacing Expel Harm. We're going to, out of combat, always generate up to 2 chi. So in like a raiding scenario, we're always going to be starting a fight with 2 chi. And then it also says about every 15 seconds, Tiger Palm also expels harm for 30% additional damage. So it's just going to be using your expel harm. So there's no way of actually really not taking this, even though personally I'd like to keep expel harm because it's an extra generator. But we kind of have to just take this now to get into like our main cooldown, Storm Off and Fire, etc. So the only way to actually gen now is going to pretty much just be through Tiger Palms, and then things like our talents will there'll be things like Glory of Dawn, which will proc and then give us an extra chi back. Another big thing is we only can pick Storm Earth and Fire now. Serenity has been completely removed, so yeah, you have to pick Storm Earth and Fire. It's a little bit different how it used to be because we've got new talents like Ordered Elements, which reduces the cost of Rising Sun kicks and your Fist of Furies, etc. So it doesn't feel as bad. Like, you don't have to always be pressing Tiger Palms, but so it's a bit different. Like, we obviously don't have infinite chi, but they did kind of help us out with this talent. In this sort of section here, going towards the bottom, it's all Blackout Kick focused really. So these are talents you're going to want if you're going to be wanting dealing with damage predominantly with Blackout Kick, but on single target currently it's not doing like a massive amount of damage, so I've bothered taking them. For the next sort of section, you'll see like there's a new one called Gal Force. It's going to be proccing when we press our Thunder Fist, and then this will eventually lead down to things like Communion with the Wind and Darting Hurricane. Currently, Communion with the Wind's not actually working, as it states that it's going to be doing 8% increased damage, which just isn't happening, but you are getting the 10-second reduced cooldown. So as you can still see as well here, we've got the normal things like Invoker's Delight, Zuen Battle Gear, Transfer the Power, etc. Fury of Zuen's now been moved a little bit further down. Rising Star, which used to be like a 2-pointer, is now only a 1-pointer. So there's that. Also see that Whirling Dragon Punch has been moved, and it actually has like a node tied into it, which will proc things like our Chi when we're pressing it. So this is a lot better now, I think, especially on AOE. Last Emperor's Capacitor and Power of the Thunder King seem to still be like vastly undertuned, so unless they buff this, I still wouldn't take this. So see here that we've got Phaline Stomp, which is a lot different to how it used to be, where we used to have to press it, kind of stand in the stomp that would be on the ground, the AoE, and then it would have to proc off our abilities to give us another one, and then we'd pretty much always have to stay within the stomp area, which was quite tedious, to be honest. They've kind of removed this now, and instead you kind of just press it. You no longer get like a 12% damage increase instead of 6, but yeah, you don't have to deal with all that standing in the stomp. There's also another talent here that just increases its damage by 500% as long as you only hit one target, so it actually does quite a bit of damage now. At the moment, I'm kind of like torn between running Phaline Stomp or run Jadefire Harmony and the Focus Jade one, which is the 500% increased, and then instead we'd run things like Communion with Wind and Darting Hurricane. I still do think that Communion with Wind is going to be probably a little bit better just because of how much damage Thunder Fist is currently doing, alongside J5 Stomp actually needing to be pressed. But yeah, well, time will have to tell with that one. But yeah, this is basically just my single target build that I've kind of cooked up. The majority of this is just basing around, things like our Thunder Fist, which is, I've got 5 points here. And the rest of it's kind of just stationed around the middle, which is what we'd usually take, like I say, with Invoker's Delight, Rising Sun Kick, it's all just Fist of Furies and Rising Sun Kicks, etc. This would be like just kind of a standard AoE that I'd take. So now we're taking things like Crane Vortex, Dance of Chi-Ji. We've got Shadow Boxing Threads. This can allow our Black Hat Kick to hit 2 extra targets. But they've actually changed this where we used to be able to proc Mark of the Crane on multiple targets from pressing this. So we'd press it on one target and it would kind of cleave over to 2 more targets. That no longer happens, and we kind of have to just manually like Tiger Palm things. Stormwolf and Fire will help out of this, obviously, as long as you don't insta focus them. If you get like a Rising Sun Kick and into like a Tiger Palm, then you'll have all your stacks there. But outside of CDs, it's going to be quite tedious again. I'd say we're just going to have to keep tab targeting, Tiger Palming everything. I'll give you guys a quick demonstration of this, so you can obviously this is the target that I've got, and if I Blackout Kick here, you'll see it hits these targets, but it's only applying the Mark of the Crane to this instead of these two. So yeah. And then for the other talents we're taking on the AoE part of the tree is going to be Whirling Dragon Punch and Resolving Wind. So Whirling Dragon Punch will obviously just be like it used to be, we'll just press it as long as we don't have Fist of Fury and Rising Sun Kick up. And then Revolving Wind is just going to be giving us a free Chi-Ji. So yeah, this build's just like the normal, spin to win sort of build. Pressing Fist of Furies and then you fill with your spinning crane kicks in between. And obviously now we've got an extra button with Whirling Dragon Punch. However, there is another build, which is this one, which I've been running a little bit of testing. It's a lot easier to say the least, where this will just focus around you black hat kicking a lot more than spinning. You've still got Dance of Chi-Ji, which you'll just press whenever you have a proc. But this will just focus around things like Teaching the Monastery, which goes in with this Knowledge of the Broken Temple, which will just grant us more Teaching the Monastery stacks. And it can also go up to 8 times. So the idea here is instead of be spinning, you'd be pressing a Fist of Fury, and then you'd kind of just be pressing Blackout Kick, Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, which as I say is just going to be a lot easier, but it's still doing a lot of damage currently. So for our stats, what we'd be running before was primarily versatility, and then we'll kind of fill in with mastery and crit being around the same, and then would want as little haste as possible. However, now with the changes to Fist of Fury and the haste, etc., we're actually going to be wanting haste. Don't actually really know how much we're wanting yet, but I definitely would say it'd be either our second to highest stat or close to our first highest stat with how things are going. So try to get as much haste gear as possible before the patch actually hits. Otherwise the gameplay is going to feel a lot sluggish than what it could be. I will say that having too much haste currently feels like you have these dead points in your rotations where your energy is not being regen fast enough and you don't have chi. So you will just be kind of standing around not doing anything. So I definitely think there will be like a break point in how much haste we're wanting. But yeah, too much haste is probably going to be quite bad for us as we're kind of just standing around not doing anything. So for now, I'd definitely say just stick to versatility being your highest stat. And I say just try to get as much haste as possible as long as you're not having like way too much. I think the main problem with haste, let's say with it being like these parts in your rotation where you're just not really doing anything, is due to the fact that we only have Tiger Palm as our generation now. And we no longer have like Chi Burst or Expel Harm to kind of fill in them gaps, especially with hit combo. So you'll come to like these points in your rotation sometimes where you'll maybe be at like 3 Chi and then you have a Fist of Fury ready. However, if you press the Fist of Fury, you go down to 0 Chi. And then you can't like double Tiger Palm to try to get up as much as possible. So you kind of have to think a lot more with what you're pressing. And that kind of leads to the downtime sort of thing where you don't want to be pressing a spender too soon. Otherwise, like you'll have 0 Chi at the end and then you'll remove the hit combo and then you'll have to start all over again. So that's sort of still why I think Phalanx Stop might see play, just because it's an extra button. So then points where we might not be doing anything, we at least have something to press. And you also might be thinking if we can't like Tiger Palm into Flying Serpent Kick and then Tiger Palm like we used to be able to preserve hit combo. They actually changed this, so we can't do this anymore. So the only thing that you can do outside if you press a Tiger Palm is another ability. So outside of double chaining Tiger Palms and losing hit combo, that's the only other alternative really. So for our rotation, it's going to be fairly similar to what it was before. Obviously now we don't have Serenity, so we have to weave in Tiger Palms into our rotation to keep pressing stuff. But like I said, we'll always start with 2 Chi, and then with things like the Storm Earth and Fire talent, which is going to give us an extra 2 Chi when we're pressing it. That's going to help out. So technically you'd start off with 4 Chi. But the big difference I think is here is going to be always making sure that your energy isn't actually capped, because you'll run into problems down the line where, maybe not like 30 seconds in or so, but when you're closing into the minute mark, somewhere around that point, you're going to start realize, well, I'm running out of energy now, I'm running out of chi, and now I'm just kind of standing around not doing anything. So you're going to always want to make sure that your energy isn't capped. That's going to be pretty much one of your biggest things you're going to want. And then obviously the other things are pressing Rising Sun Kick on cooldown, pressing Fist of Fury on cooldown. Also, if you're running Gale Force, you're going to be pressing your Thunder Fist before you do any of this, just so that it reaps the benefit of gaining the 10% additional damage. Also, another thing to note of Ordered Elements is it actually resets the CD of our Rising Sun Kick. So you could technically do Rising Sun Kick, pop your Storm off and Fire, and then do another Rising Sun Kick. Whether or not it's still going to be the best thing is probably still to be decided. I think 2 minutes in, when you've already like you're getting your second set of CDs, is probably a good thing to do, because you can max out your chi and then be doing this. But the start of the pull, you're obviously only going to be having like 4, so it might be a bit rough. You don't want to be pressing Tiger Palm too much, obviously, when you're in CDs. But yeah, I'll show you guys a quick demonstration of what I've been cooking up at least so far. So yeah, that was the single target rotation. As you can see, there's still sort of them points where you're not pressing anything. Like I say, you want to be prioritizing as much as possible with not overcapping your energy. You do sort of run into them scenarios as well, where you sort of like trying to not overcap on energy, and then you'll get like a chi proc from your Rising Sun kick, so you end up having to spend like a Tiger Palm to not overcap energy, and then it feels like you're wasting a chi, but it's still probably better to do that than overcap your energy too much. But yeah, this is the breakdown where obviously our spirits are here, but we'll just kind of not look at that. So it's Rising Sun Kick, Fist of Fury, Blackout Kick. We've got obviously our Zuen, etc., Gale Force. So like I say, I was running actually the talent for Commune with the Wind here, but like I say, it's not doing 80% increased damage currently. So this will be a lot higher up. And then the rest of this is kind of just passively proc stuff. There was the Rushing Jade Wind here, but this is the hero talent. I've just, like I said, just try not to look at that too much, because that's not going to be in the pre-patch. It's part of the hero talent. As you can see towards the bottom here, we've got things like the changes with Chi Wave, Expel Harm. They're still doing like fairly decent damage, it's close to a percentage, but definitely would rather them being a button to press, and feel like the rotation would be a lot better. So next we'll just show you what the AOE rotation is going to look like. It's going to be pretty similar to what it is before, like I say, with the spinning build. The only difference being that we've got Whirling Dragon Punch now. We're going to be getting 3 GGs with Resolving Wind, but yeah, I'll show you this anyways. So yeah, that was the AOE rotation, where you can see the majority of our damage is pretty much coming from Spinning Crane Kick. Whirling Dragon Punch is not doing too bad, like I say 7%, but you've also got to remember that it's giving us 3 GG procs. And then the rest of it's kind of just what it used to be. And yeah, and everything else here kind of just it's passive. Rushing Jade Wind shouldn't be here because it's a hero talent. But obviously, it's like I said, I'm on beta, so just remove that from your minds. But yeah, like the majority of our damage is coming from Spinning, Fist of Fury, and then a bit from Whirling Drag Punch and Zuen. This was a blackout build that I showed you guys. I'd say it's going to be a lot simpler than the spinning build, especially with the tab targeting, tiger palms, etc. So yeah, I'll show you guys how this one runs. So it was a bit laggy with that test, unfortunately, because it is beta and all. But yeah, you can see here that Fist of Fury and Black Hat Kick pretty much neck and neck. So it's dealing a lot of damage. We've got Welling Dragon Punch again, and then Spinning Crane Kicks that are just coming from our Dance of Gigi. The reason why I think this build's doing fairly well is just literally because of ordered elements, where it's affecting our Black Hat Kick to reduce the CD of our Fist of Fury by an additional 1 second. So you're just getting your Fist of Fury back up a lot quicker, and it's dealing more damage. Alongside the ease of use of this, like you saw, I'm just pretty much hitting one target and pressing Black Hat Kick continuously. You could like min-max this with obviously target palming extra targets for when you're eventually going to be pressing Spinning Crane Kick with Dancer GG procs, but just out of showing you guys how easy it is just to do damage with this build, you just sit on one target and spam Black Hat Kick pretty much the whole time. Yeah guys, that was my like mini guide slash prep work for the Windwalker Monk in the pre-patch. If you guys got any more further questions, then don't be shy, then comment down below and I'll try to get to you as soon as possible. Other than that, if you've enjoyed, then like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.